Hey everyone, welcome back to Safe Fitness Training. I'm JG. Jonathan Gentry is my full name. I've been working with high intensity training for the past 7 years. And while this method is not easy for newcomers, for the client, or the trainee, most people new to strength training can double their strength and their muscle, essentially making you biologically younger in just a few short months. I say a few, maybe 3 to 6 months. I promise I've been listening to what you guys have been saying in the comments. This is the version of the big three exercises listed in the book Body by Science, but this is specifically oriented for those of you who do not have access to Nautilus machines or any type of strength training machines like the leg press, the lat pull down, and the chest press. And we're going to do those naturally with just our own body weight today. If you are new to this high intensity strength training, the size principle states that the largest motor units are recruited at the very end of the exercise. When we cannot pull any further and the weights can't move or we can't move our body doing body weight exercises, then that is the moment that we recruit the most amount of muscle fibers. That's why intensity of effort is so important. And it's also why programs like Sit and Be Fit are not helping seniors and elderly make huge strides to your health and fitness goals. High intensity strength training, I've seen insane results like lowered blood pressure, lowered cholesterol, reversed bone density, people kicking cancer. These types of things happen all the time, but I just don't see it in anybody doing Sit and Be Fit. If you have any evidence to the contrary, let me know. Drop a comment below. But please, before we get started, like and subscribe. If you keep coming back, I'll be able to help you even more. So subscribe, you'll get notified to my videos, and you'll be able to come back every single time I make a video because I really am here to help you live a longer life. Good, so today we're going over the 3 most important exercises that you could do for elderly, seniors, heck, anybody with injuries. Any human biological body is going to benefit from doing these 3 exercises to the highest intensity that you can possibly put out there. And these are comparable to the big 3 Nautilus machines, the leg press, lat pull down, and the chest press. Starting out here with the squat, this is going to be working, well, really every single lower body muscle, primarily your glutes. You want to focus on through the whole process. Muscles above the knees and the quadriceps, and then hamstrings underneath the thighs are the 3 main movers. You want to keep your back straight through this entire process. Moving through this pace right around 8 to 10 seconds if you're moving at slow repetition speed. 2 things that you're going to have to kind of self-regulate when you're doing this. The very first thing, you don't want your knees to be hurting. So if your knees ever do hurt, don't squat down quite as far. Just adjust however necessary, ongoing, that you allow yourself to move downward. Don't move down as far if your knees hurt, and you'll continue to notice what the perfect range of motion is for you. Also, if you ever feel your lower back has any pain, simply stand up just a little bit straighter. That is to bend less from the waist and to just pick yourself up a little bit more. We want to be leaning over enough to where we feel the glute muscles working, but not enough to where we hurt our lower back muscles when we're doing this. I know I keep mentioning this a lot, but since our goal is always going to be momentary muscular failure, and this is a lot more difficult to reach this point with a squat than a leg press. And of course, it's because with a squat, we don't have that huge amount of extra weight that we're putting on our body. We can only lift our body weight. So one of my huge recommendations is to just pause into an isometric at the highest contraction point. And for the squat position, that's when you're really low to the floor. At that point, you can squeeze for 5 seconds with every rep and then turn around and go the opposite direction, pushing gently upward. When you get to that point where you feel like you're about to collapse into the chair that's right beneath you, that's when you want to just squeeze the glutes, hold and pause, and then get yourself to that highest intensity. The furthest contraction that you can make it into momentary muscular failure is always going to be our goal. Second, we're going to be targeting the back muscles in the lats, or the latissimus dorsi. This is the largest muscle in the upper body. This is the same movement as a lat pull down would be, just like a chin up. It's the same exact movers. But since most of us, when we're first starting out in strength training, we have very underdeveloped lat muscles. And so when we do something like a chin up, we're primarily going to be working our arms first and foremost. So doing this first before you do a chin up, or doing this instead of a chin up in the beginning, is really going to help you get in deeper to the lats, make those muscles grow bigger and bigger, to where when you do a chin up in the future, you'll be able to feel more of the back muscles, a little bit less of the biceps. That would be very common when holding a chin up position. This time static contraction can be used as a standalone exercise for the lats and traps, but I use it as a way to pre-fatigue those muscles in the back for a longer isometric chin up, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. And you can see I'm using an immovable object. This is actually a pillow with a broom on top of it. That's because I left my yoga mat at the studio and I'm just home today. And so even though it's probably not my best option, I looked around, I grabbed the first things that I could, and it is certainly working well. I could feel this very deeply through my lats working. The trick with this time static contraction is to continue to apply more pressure than you think is even possible. So when your muscles are absolutely fully fatigued, or you think you can't pull anymore, add 1 pound of pressure. Keep pulling. Drive those elbows all the way back towards you. There's another similar thing that we could do if this doesn't seem to engage the right muscles for you, and that's to put yourself completely against a wall and just bring those elbows back the furthest that you can. You're completely immovable, but you're putting that pressure right back through the elbows and squeezing into the back. Just like this movement here is what we were doing on that isometric we just did. This would be very similar. You work a little bit more of the top of the back muscles there, but still would be a very powerful time static contraction, very similar to this as well. So you'll notice here, I'm doing a fully isometric pull-up and just resisting all the way through. I don't recommend that you move through range of motion and do multiple pull-ups for this. And I'll be honest, if your feet can't touch the ground on a pull-up bar, it's not going to be the safest thing for you to do. I don't necessarily recommend that you just jump onto any pull-up bar that you can find and start this movement. If your feet touch the ground, then it's going to be safe for you. And just gently lift your toes up a tiny bit and pull right up into that position, contract it, and just resist all the way down. I don't want you to do anything dangerous. If you don't feel safe, don't do it. And just resort back to those 2 isometrics that still are immensely powerful if you get to that highest intensity that you possibly can get to. So one more movement, of course. This is going to simulate a chest press or a bench press. Same thing, but of course we're in a push-up position. Now most of us, when we're starting out in strength training, our upper body's not going to be very strong starting out. So when you begin this process, you really may want to either begin on your knees, doing push-ups on your hands, or you can maybe even begin on your toes and push yourself up using a bench or a chair. You'll notice, of course, I'm doing versions of both of these, just showing you your options, what you're able to do. The most important part of this, of course, is reaching the point of a momentary muscular failure. At some point, you may feel like you're going to completely collapse. I want you to stay safe when you get to this point, and I want you to make sure that you're in a safe place when you do reach that point where you can't move any further. Do this every 4 to 7 days and do it to the highest intensity, and you're going to see amazing results in the next 6 months of your life. Just like with all of this, none of this is going to work if you don't put it into action and do it consistently. If you're thinking, hey, I could get away with one workout every few weeks or this and that, this stimulus needs to be intense enough to where you're going to get results, and it has to be frequent enough to where you're going to get results. Please push yourself to the absolute max. If that's something that's difficult for you, of course, one-on-one coaching may be something that you're interested in, one-on-one fitness training, any of these are great options. And of course, I have links down below to one-on-one fitness training with a perfect workout. I always leave a plug for that company that I work for. They are the largest high-intensity training company. Hey, I want to know about your progress. How are you doing with your workouts? Did you try this? Can you feel your back muscles? It's a little bit tougher to feel those lats, and so you may not feel them engage for the first 5 to 20 workouts even. You'll start to feel them more and more. There are just very few nerve endings back there, so you're definitely going to feel your biceps a whole lot more during that chin-up. If you haven't gotten started yet, I hope you do today, because I hope you live a longer life with the power of strength training. I'll see you on the next video.